Financially free with Cleo.
Hey, this is Cleo with CleoYogaFinance.com, and welcome back for another episode of Financially Free with Cleo, a show where we shift mindsets with real and raw money conversations with everyday people, empowering you to take action, appreciate the journey, and live the lifestyle you desire, financially, mentally, and physically. Today we have two very special guests, my first married couple on Financially Free with Cleo, Jhanilka and Anthony Hartzog, a millennial couple that has faced the reality of discussing finances and finding a pragmatic solution to tackling their overwhelming debt. They were born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, moved to Dallas 5 years ago, right after getting married. In 23 months, the couple has paid off $114,000 of debt, including student loans, credit cards, and paid off their car in 1 year. Oh, that is amazing. They raised their income by $20,000 their first year by working numerous side hustles. During the pandemic, they made about $155,000 in side hustles alone. It is possible, you guys. Also, they started a local residential cleaning business called Maids to Match here in Dallas without cleaning houses. Catch that, y'all. Since paying off debt, they have traveled to Maldives, Dubai, Jamaica, Cabo, and Africa. Those are some places that are on my list. Jhanilka and Anthony's story is so amazing and extremely encouraging for anyone wanting to pay off debt and aiming for financial freedom. Welcome to the show, you guys. How are you all doing today?
We are doing
Fantastic.
good. That was a wonderful introduction, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes.
Exciting.
Yes, I'm so excited for you guys to be here. I'm ready to learn and grow, and I'm sure everyone out there listening is ready to learn and grow from you guys. And I've been following you all's journey for a while now, and I want others. A lot of people are aware of the work that you all are doing, but I want so many more people to learn about all the things that are going on with you all. But I always like to start from back in the day when we grew up, our childhood. So just start off by sharing with us how you all grew up and how you first learned about money.
Okay, you wanna go first?
You go for it.
Okay. So basically I was born, we both grew up in the projects in Brooklyn, New York. Mostly my mother's a single mother. My dad is in my life, but it was just mostly with her. She's a teacher. When it came to money, I don't really remember much about it. I have an uncle that's kind of an entrepreneur, and then an aunt that was in the military that was very specific with like having a bank account, Roth IRA, investments. Like she knew all of that. But my mother, it just was kind of like I got an allowance here and there, but money was never like it was never like a struggle or discussion in that regard. I just knew that you had to pay the bills, and that's it. Like I didn't have my first job until like junior year in college, and so. You know, I did like a summer job one time just to get like a resume going, but not that I needed it. I never was one that, I know a lot of people say like, well, I wanted money at the beginning, like to buy my own stuff. And I'm like, I was never one that really cared. I guess I felt like I had everything that I needed. So that was kind of my journey with money.
And for me, I'm oldest of three siblings. I had both my parents in my life, and I just knew growing up that you had to work to make money. So my first job came at like 12 years old. I was packing bags at the grocery store. I used that money to buy my first video game. It was like Killer Instinct for like Super Nintendo. It was like $50 or something. Looking back, that was actually pretty expensive. And then from there, I had a summer youth job, and even all through college, I was an RA, I was an SA, I was an orientation assistant. I was always working. So that was my encounters with money growing up.
Yeah, that's so cool. So Anthony, you already had the experience with the multiple incomes at a very young age, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely did.
And I had my first job. I was 17 years old at KFC, and that was my first job. But I only got it because I was like kind of bored, didn't have anything else to do, because I have an older sister, so her or my mom, they always just paid everything for me. We didn't grow up rich or anything, but you know, if I want my little Cricket phone bill paid, or if I wanted some new shoes or something like that, I would just go to my mom and my sister. So I got introduced to it just getting my little KFC part-time job and thought I was rich until, you know, you grow up and you realize, ooh, it's expensive out here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so if you can share with us one of your biggest money decisions. I know we can think about a lot of different decisions that we've made, throughout our lifetime, but what do you all feel like is your best money decision?
Paying off the debt.
I would say before we even paid off the debt, I think having a conversation. I think before we even paid off the debt, I'll probably say our biggest or best conversation, or what kind of got us here today, was planning for our wedding. That was the first time we were like, all right, we got to put our money together and we got to have a bank account, and we had to start putting money into it monthly or biweekly.
And we knew that we weren't going to go into debt to plan our wedding. So we were able to pay everything cash essentially and left the wedding with nothing, not owing anything. It was mostly us, our family did contribute, but it was mostly us just, like you said, just realizing like, okay, we have this goal. And that was like the first time I think we realized like, wow, if you want something, you could really work for it. So, in that 1.5 to 2 years planning for the wedding, it was just kind of like, put the money in, we got to pay for this, put the money in, we got to pay for that. So yeah, definitely the wedding was a start.
So that was when we had our first joint bank account at that time. And we were just both doing auto contributions, and any other monies we got, we just put it to that bank account to pay for the wedding and any other expenses that came up.
Yeah. So did you guys have a wedding planner or just did the planning yourselves together?
Oh, we did the planning ourselves. And my mother is really good at like planning events and decorating and stuff like that. Yeah. So she assisted a lot, but it was all us. We did it in New York, and we were like, we wish we knew. At that time, there was no discussion of coming to Dallas, like when we were planning. So we said, we wish we did it in Dallas. It would have been way cheaper. Because New York is expensive.
Yeah, I've only visited there about twice, but I've always wondered, could I ever live in New York? Because it's like everything is expensive there.
I feel like if you grow up there, you have no choice, and so you have to make it work. Yeah. But someone coming like from the South, and the space and all that you get to go there is probably like, this ain't worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. When the last time I traveled there was like January or February of 2018, and I stayed in a hotel there. I don't remember the name of the hotel, but the hotel room was so small, and I was like, I stay at this type of hotel in all kinds of states. And the one in New York, I just assumed it was going to be, nice and big. And it was like a closet. And I was like, what is going on here? Is it just this hotel, or clearly New York?
Especially coming from Dallas, you go down to New York, you're like, the apartment that we had in Brooklyn.
It was a good size though.
We actually did have a good size apartment.
But that's not what you usually get.
That's not the norm. So you're paying a lot of money just to be in New York, to say you're in New York.
What do you feel is your most challenging money experience?
I would say for us is figuring out when we're going to travel and when we're not. Because usually that's when our discussions or debates come up. Because she always wants to travel, and I'm always like, oh, let's save the money. And
so but I'm like, what you saving for? Like, how long we saving? When are we going to be using anything that we're saving? I think that, and then sometimes just with spending. So we're both not, really big spenders. I mean, he used to be a bigger spender than I was, but we really don't spend like that. So the times that we want to, or that I want to, and then it becomes a discussion, it's like, well, why is this a discussion? We don't spend anyway. And he's like, well, we can't just go out and do this. And I'm like, well, we can, because we have the money. It doesn't disrupt anything. Like, it's not like we're going in debt or we're not paying a bill because of it. That's something that we continue to have to, find that balance of, it's okay to spend, but how early do I need to tell him for him to like say like, okay, I understand, and we can go for it.
And that's what we also discovered that in like our therapy session. It was, the therapist we had a conversation with, she was like, he being me. Yeah. She's like, he needs to have an introduction to the conversation that we're going to have about the money that we're going to spend. So if we're going to spend, $900 on a bag, don't tell him the same day. Like, give him a week or two heads up, like, hey, I'm thinking about getting this bag. Yeah. Because that's the type of person I am. I want to know what we're going to spend our money on, just so I can have an understanding before we kind of get to that Gucci store, Louis store, and then spend money.
And I'm sitting at the restaurant, we see the store, I'm like, oh, let's check it out.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we differ, but usually just the conversation helps.
How do you all find the time to manage working your full-time jobs, managing those businesses, and also spending quality time together? And also share with us, what are the fields that you are in your 9-to-5s, and what are those side hustles that you have?
So we'll start with
that was loaded.
I know.
So 9 to 5, I'm an IT director. I've been with my company 8 years now.
So I'm a mental health therapist and I'm a manager at my company and I work on the managed care side. So basically like insurance side of it. But I do side hustle doing like kind of private practice, but online essentially.
Some of the things we got going.
Some of the things we have going now is
well, you got a bunch.
So like I said, I do like therapy online at this point. I was doing it before COVID hit. But now I have way more clients. So I do that on 2 different platforms. That's just my side hustle. But then the side hustles we have together now is we have our cleaning business, Maids to Match in Dallas. We have the Hatrimony, which is, on social media, but it takes a lot. Yeah. And so within that, we have one-on-one consultations and coaching in a community. And then, we have the cleaning business Maids to Match. And on Hatrimony, we sell courses for that, how to get your service-based business up and running. We also have a group. We also have a 4-week program that you can do if you want want us to be along with you step by step.
Mm-hmm. We also just got our first rental property.
Right, investment property in 2020. And then we also bought a car specifically just to have it on a platform to rent it out for people to use as well. That's it that I can think of. We're working on
We do Rover.
We do Rover where we watch dogs as well. Now we only take our regulars, but yeah, we do Rover, and we're working on another big project that we haven't kind of put out there yet, but that's another thing that's taking up time. And your question about like, how do we balance it all? It's coming to a point that we can't. The past few weeks, we realized the bigger that we get and the more that we put on our plate is we just can't do it. But in the meantime, how did we do it all? When we were paying debt, one of our side hustles was working at a gym, Equinox.
Yeah.
And so at that time, I've always worked from home prior to COVID as well. I was getting off at 4:00. So essentially I had the rest of the day. And so I would go work at Equinox 5 to 10 p.m. or 5 to 9 p.m. weekends as well. And he was doing that after work as well. So that's kind of most of the side hustles and things that we take on. It's flexible. And that's how we, allow ourselves to continue to do it. If it was like, let's just use the KFC that I have to be there this time and we must do 30 hours a week, it just wouldn't work for us. So all of our side hustles are very flexible. We can, I always can turn off, say no to Rover, Equinox, they both knew that we had a full-time job. So they allowed us that flexibility, so on and so forth. We can shut down the car, no, you can't borrow it. So that's a bit about how we balance it, making sure all our side hustles are flexible. Anything else?
I would say utilizing the entire day. So now we know after work, we can't do anything outside of like our side hustles. We know right now we're working out in the morning. So we're waking up at 5 and working out in the gym at 6. And then we're not doing our 9 to 5s, or for me, it's a 7 to 4. Mm-hmm. And then for her, it's 8 to 5. So at 5 o'clock, now we're working on things for ourselves. Mm-hmm. So utilizing the full day is important, but also outsourcing what you could get help with. So now we have virtual assistants to help us with the cleaning business. So during the day, they're taking on the phone calls, they're answering their inquiries, they're on Yelp, they're on Google, so they're helping us out. Mm-hmm. So utilizing your resources, utilizing your full day, and
then also just for us, just being intentional about it. When we set goals for the year and monthly, it's like, okay, must do a date 2 times a month, or like the weekends. It's mostly just us if we go out or something like that. We'll work on our businesses, but we both are very honest with each other. Okay, an hour, that's enough. Let's just watch a movie. Let's just do this. When we notice things are getting too busy the past few weeks, let's do a staycation. So just being very intentional about it as well, because we know we have a lot on our plate. So we got to make sure that we're prioritizing our relationship as well.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think more people, when they're thinking about starting extra side hustles, like you all mentioned, that you guys have that flexibility where you don't necessarily have to physically go to a KFC, and be there present. And I think that's something I've thought with my own self is that, I can multitask on different things throughout the day and get it done. And I think more people are looking for ways to do things that they really enjoy, where they don't have to get, 18 full-time jobs or anything like that.
I mean, that's something that he says as well when it comes to side hustling and getting more income. Like, you can just start with like, what are you doing at your 9 to 5 and how can you extend that? Can you do OT at your job? I wish my job offered it, but as salary, okay. You know, can you get OT at your job? Is it just an extension of that? Kind of like me as a therapist, like I don't really do therapy in my 9 to 5. However, the side gig of therapy is still in my career, still, you know, so what can you find that you enjoy or that doesn't take too much time away as well?
Like one of my friends, he works at a hospital, and he was trying to figure out, oh, I want to do a side job. I was like, can you do a side job at your hospital? So then he started taking on OT. I was like, that's essentially a side job because you're making money outside what you would normally make. And then he started doing other things at the hospital that made him money as well. So utilizing where you already are to kind of, you know, get to that next level. It doesn't have to be a separate job. You could be doing something currently at your current position and figuring out from there.
Yeah. And I like how when you start, you know, one thing, it kind of can leads into another. Like you mentioned that, hey, he did some extra hours at work and he was able to find other things to do. So I think it's about like really just starting with, you know, what you already know and stuff you're already doing. And it can just open the door to more income earning opportunities that we probably didn't expect had we not, you know, taken that first step. But with your Hatrimony name, when I first seen it, I just thought it was very unique, so cool. And I'm like, what is that about? You know, so how did you guys create that name and what does it represent?
So I created it.
Like mostly
Anthony.
We do. So basically it's a play on our last name in matrimony. So our last name is Hartzog and, you know, matrimony. So that's how we got Hatrimony. And also that was our wedding song was the Wale. What's the name of the song? Wale. The Matrimony.
Yeah, Matrimony. Wale.
Wale song. So that's how that name came about. It is very unique because the last name is unique.
Because we used the Hatrimony hashtag for our wedding and our Snapchat filter. So it started off just like a thing like, oh yeah, Hatrimony is cute. You know, everybody has a wedding. They want a cute hashtag. So took me forever. I got it, and then we used the hashtag, and then we kind of just kept it going.
When we was making Instagram, we were like, "What should our name be?" And our friends was like, "Why wouldn't you just use the Hatrimony? Like, what? Why are you thinking outside of that?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, you're right." So
yeah,
that's how that came about.
Yeah.
Well, I like it. It definitely stands out, and it's very catchy and like unforgettable. So I love that. And yes, you're welcome. And I also want to know about, you know, being financially free. It means different things to all of us. But what does being financially free mean to you two?
Being a dog mom. I'm kidding. So financially freedom would be, it's hard because we go back and forth. It kind of reminds me of like, you know, originally we said that if we make our 9 to 5 incomes from our side hustles, then we will quit or we'll take a break or something like that. And then it like we've made that already and we still working. And then it's kind of like, do you think if we make this or have this amount of investment properties, we'll stop working? And so it's difficult to kind of gauge that. I think every year it changes. But freedom also means for me just like being able to travel when I want, essentially, being able to just wake up and do what we need to do, which would be kind of like gym and working on our businesses, whatever those businesses are, because we continue to just have different things happening. So that's kind of what it requires. It's not even so much money, because I feel like at this point now that we've side hustled and we continue to do different things, I feel like we would know how to make money. If anything was to happen, I don't really even think of the money part of it. Just kind of like the freedom for us and the time that it provides.
I think the time freedom, to me, that's the biggest part of it, because if you could just imagine if you would just get up and do exactly what you want to do or what you feel like you were put here to do every single day.
Right.
I think that's what financial freedom means, because a lot of people, you know, you got a lot of people who retire young and then they don't quit work. They don't quit doing what their purpose is or what they feel like they were put here to do. They're still working on something that's important to them. So to me, having that time freedom allows you to kind of do what you want to do or what you feel like you want to wake up and do to help others.
Right. But there's just no restriction to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, you know, like when we have our 9 to 5s and everything else is happening, we're like, how are we going to get all of this done? You know, right. And so it feels like sometimes if I can't give my all to this, you know, is it slacking? Is this business getting all that we can get? And I mean, we say that with the Hatrimony too, just coming with content. We're like, we know we can do so much better, but we just can't because we just pulled in so many different ways. And so that freedom, being able to do what you want to do for those businesses and things like that.
So I like the fact that you all share that, hey, we're still working on 9 to 5s because, we want to, may not necessarily have to, but it's just what we want to do. And you can still be successful in your businesses and your side hustles too. You can do it all. It may not be easy, but I know you guys make it work.
But then 9 to 5 guaranteed check just is differently. And I think that can be a crippling factor as well for people, and possibly for us as well. You could be doing more. We speak about that. We know that we could probably grow our businesses to another level if we probably weren't working 9 to 5, but it's just hard to just let that go. I got my master's for this. I work, you work for that all this time, and it's kind of just to let that go. It's like, okay, that's hard. It's difficult.
Yeah, definitely not easy. And I really think that, everyone has their own, I guess, time frame and when they feel that it's the best time to let the 9 to 5s go. Because I've heard conversations of people say, if they left their 9 to 5 and they decided to go back and they don't really want to share that with someone. But I just think that, we're all on our own journey. So when we feel like it's ready to take that step to leave the 9 to 5s, cool. If you feel like you need to go back, then do that. Cause I just feel like we're all like learning and growing on this journey. And I know you all mentioned that, it's, it's a lot of work to do all these things. So do you feel that you are planning to hire more people to help you in your business? Because I know for me, I tend to try to do a lot of things myself, but I realized we all don't have that much time. So example, for my podcast, I was like, editing is a lot. So I hired someone to help me with editing audio and video. So for you all, have you all thought recently of any new employees or contractors that you would want to add to your business to help out in certain areas?
Hell yeah.
For the cleaning business, I said we would do an operations manager, because even though we have virtual assistants to help out, operations manager would be a virtual person as well. We got VAs to answer the phone and stuff like that. We want someone to kind of have a stake in the business in terms of like, I'm part of the business. VAs, they like, yeah, I help, but I'm not part of the business. So maybe an operations manager, a person that has a stake in the business, maybe salaried or hourly, whatever it may be. And like, that's part of what they do. I think that would be the cleaning business.
Yeah, I think we just need an assistant in general. And he's like, assistant with what? I'm like, listen, I have a lot of tasks that they can help us with. Like right now, we speak about like looking for a social media manager. Same thing with we don't have a podcast, but we do want someone that edits our videos, because we do want to do more YouTube. But once again, it's just another thing that's time consuming. Like we can tape it, but then to edit it and do it all to make it look good. So we recognize that. And so I know they say like, if you can't, either you don't want to do it or you can't handle it anymore, then outsource it if you can, obviously. So that's the point we're at. We're thinking about operations manager, but we are looking for a social media manager. Like that is something that we definitely want. And we're speaking to people about doing video edits. So yeah, we understand that the capacity is just no longer. And it's funny, we had this conversation this week, and I told him, because I always say, like I said, I always say we need an assistant, we need this, we need that. But he never, not that he disagrees, but he never really says anything. And this week he's like, well, what is the person you think we need now? I'm like, well, wow, what made you realize that? He's like, because I recognize that we're going to the gym in the morning. You're still not leaving the office until 7 p.m. And then we have like these 3 hours, 7 to 10. Eat, walk the dog, hang out.
So I go to sleep early anyway.
Yeah, he's an old man. 10 o'clock. Him and the dog is night. 10 o'clock. So I'm like, well, maybe we stay up later. And he's like, and then how are we gonna go to the gym in the morning? So, trying to find that balance. And so we've just come to that, realization. But we've been doing it, for 3.5 years all by ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
even with a social media, that's like 100 jobs in one already. So years ago, I used to wonder, why do people need a social media manager? It's just, just post it,
right?
But it's different when you're just on social media because you're not trying to run a business or anything. But once you cross over into using it for a business, then it's like, wow, yeah, it's like all the planning and prep work, and just you guys already know the whole rundown of what goes into social media planning, all day, every week. So now I see the value in hiring social media managers and brand managers and all those other things to really help you, because it can be very time consuming. But the good thing is when you have those incomes coming in, it feels good to know that, hey, I'm at a place where I have the money to hire someone. Sometime in the beginning, it can be difficult if there is not enough room in the budget to hire more people. But when you come to that point where it's like time, you think about money, it's like, yeah, I think it's time.
It's about that time. It's
Yeah,
about that time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to know what advice you would give to married couples or soon to be married couples if they desire, well, not if, because a lot of couples do desire a healthy relationship with each other and with money. So what are a couple of tips you can give to those people who are maybe struggling and trying to figure out how to make it all work?
You could go first with this.
I would say not being afraid to have those conversations, because the longer you keep it in, the worse it's going to be. So we talk about everything. We talk about everything pretty early. It's not like I've been thinking about this for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, so it's been bothering me.
Right.
Like if it's bothering me, we're talking about it now. And kind of I take that same approach at work too. Like I have a couple of managers under me, and I'm like, if you have a disciplinary conversation, it has to happen within 24 hours, because they're going to forget, or you're going to let it fester up and you're going to be upset about it. Mm-hmm. So having those conversations early and often would probably be my advice.
Yeah, I think piggybacking on that, like we speak about having budget meetings, which is really what we call family meetings. And it's just a place to just check the temperature, kind of check in. Obviously we go over our budget, but everything else, what's happening at work, what's happening personally, what do we need to work on? What can we do better at? How does this work for you across our businesses as well? But I know for a lot of people, just having that conversation can be difficult. So, we're both very vocal. So I was going to say that, make it fun. There's games out there. There's so many ways that you can kind of just go about it. And then recognizing, like, if it's getting too heated or you're not getting anywhere, we can separate and come back. Like, we don't need to hash this out this second. But I think also just being open and understanding where people come from, kind of like what he's saying, like for him, he can't just splurge, right? And for me, it's like, I don't care, like that's fine. We got, I guess. So I think understanding your partner as well. So if it's gonna take you 2 weeks or a week, I'll tell you 2 weeks ahead that I'm about to do it. Like that's not a big deal, right? So that type of compromise as well, and just being open to the conversation. It doesn't always, like you said, have to be formal and like, okay, let's sit down, let's do, we can just chat it out. So
yeah, I love that. Anyone out there listening that's in a relationship or you're already married, it's really important to listen to other couples like you two who are making it work, to take in those tips and advice to see how it can help your own relationship become better when it comes to money and working it out together. So thank you for sharing that. And I want to know a little bit more about you two. So I'm just going to ask a few quick questions, really easy, just to get to know you two a little bit more. So I would like to know, what's you all's favorite food?
My favorite restaurant is Red Lobster. I don't know what my favorite food is. It's probably like chicken, something basic. Oh, I love steak, actually. I do love steak, so let's go with that.
I would say for me, it's pizza.
Oh, yeah.
I like pizza.
Pizza.
I love pizza. And sweets.
Yeah, I'm a huge sweets guy. So.
Yeah. And I'm not really a sweets person at all.
Really? I am definitely a sweets person. Anything with bread and cheese, I'll eat it any day. So I love pizza.
Cheese is like okay to me. Like I'm not, of course I eat it, but I don't get excited the way that I know a lot of people do.
Cheese lover. Okay, so as far as traveling, I know you guys have been a lot of places, but what is your favorite place that you've traveled to? And what's a place that you have not been before that you're looking forward to going to?
Favorite place in probably Dubai that we traveled to. Looking forward to either Thailand or Greece next. Thailand, Greece, or Bali. One of the three. Probably Thailand because I know it's cheaper. Would be next for me.
And for me, it was Dubai as well. And I don't look forward to traveling anywhere.
Yeah, he does.
I'm not a big traveler. I just go wherever she wants to go. So
yeah. The thing about it is like he doesn't get excited until like the day before, until we're there or something. Then he's like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, I don't have a place where it's like, oh my God, I want to go there one day.
Yeah.
It's just not me.
Yeah. But Dubai is like Miami and Vegas on steroids. So it's a good time.
I have not, I love to travel, but I have not been there yet, but it is on my list. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. All right. So what's y'all's favorite season? Spring, winter, summer, fall?
Um,
Well, in Dallas, anything but summer. So
right. I personally do not like the 90 something degrees is not for me. I do not like that. So maybe I guess spring or fall would be mine.
I'm good
Mm.
with beautiful.
Yeah, that would have to be.
Just not summer in Dallas now.
I don't understand how people like being outside in that weather. I'm like, you're dying. You're
But I do love summers in New York. The energy is just different. Like
That's
there's
true.
barbecues outside, and you go up the block, somebody barbecuing,
Mhm.
across the street, somebody barbecuing,
The
and
music blasts and you hear it as soon as you park.
yeah, we miss summers in New York,
Yeah.
but not summers in Dallas. Nah, I'm good.
So the summers in New York, it's not hot and humid like it is here in Dallas.
It gets hot, don't get me wrong, but nothing like this.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't get this hot.
Yeah, when I first moved here, it was August of 2017, and I moved in August when it was
No.
hot.
I'm moving in the summer either.
And when I moved here, I was living in Denver at the time. So it gets hot up there, but it's dry. It's not hot and humid at all. And I was so miserable. Like it was literally like 6:30 in the morning and I was dripping sweat outside. And I was just totally confused. I'm originally from Tennessee. So it's hot and humid there. But yeah, Texas is definitely a different level of hot and humid.
My first year down here, I did a company barbecue. I'm like, oh, let's all get together and do a company barbecue. We did it in August, and everyone's like, you don't understand. Like, you shouldn't do this. So we did it. It was miserable, but everybody had a good time. We had drinks, and everybody would be all right. You guys survived.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put it again though.
Yeah.
Not again. Just one first and last time.
Definitely.
Okay. And the last one here is $500,000. So I want to know, what is the first three things that you two would do if you had $500,000 right now?
He gonna say investment property.
I'm gonna say
that's not gonna be my thing ever.
I'm gonna say maybe like 1 or 2 investment properties and probably putting the rest in the market.
I probably got other plans. I got some traveling places.
I'm not even thinking about traveling. Wow, okay.
Yeah, I would definitely travel to some places. Save. So whatever saving looks like, it's saving. If it's just a saving stock, whatever. Buy my mother a new car, and then she
needs a new car.
She needs a new car. And then
you can add that to my new car for her or used car.
And then I don't even know if we will get a house because I mean we go back and forth on that as well. We grew up in an apartment and we've been in an apartment since being out here. Obviously, the apartments out here is bigger than what we grew up in, but just the convenience of an apartment, I understand. We're throwing money away. I get the concept, but just the convenience of an apartment. Like I call my complex if I need my light bulb changed. So like that's just to show.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if we would just say like get a house. So yeah, that's probably a traveling, saving / stocks, and buying mother a car. That's my
cool.
My car too, though. I just thought about that. Yep, because I'm getting either Audi or Tesla.
I have a daughter, she's 17, and she's already told me she wants a Tesla. So I had her look up the prices. I had to do her own little research project on the cost, the starting price of Teslas. And she was like, oh, is that all? And I was like,
where are you from?
Hold up. Yeah. I said, no, she's like, well, if you don't want your car, I can have yours. Or you can give me a graduation gift and give me a Tesla. She graduates in May, but she knows that she just has this, I don't know how to say it, but kids have this, they like to spend a lot of money.
But I think they also have a different type of exposure than what we grew up with social media. It's just easy access and it seems like standard sometimes, like that's just part of life.
Yeah.
We didn't have exposure to that. It's like whatever you knew in our neighborhood, in our family, and that's it.
This is true. I grew up in the projects, in the hood, in South Nashville, Tennessee. And I didn't grow up with, we didn't get to see this type of stuff. I told my daughter when I was in high school, we didn't have Instagram and social media, Twitter, Snapchat, all of that, where you can see everybody's stuff all over the world. Yeah, you can see people in the neighborhood, but in my neighborhood, all we saw was raggedy cars. And if you did see a nice car, it was from, people who do certain things that's illegal. Yeah, they got the nice cars, but I think nowadays kids are exposed to a lot more, which could be good in a way. I think they have so many more resources than we may have had when we were that age. So I'm glad that you are in a position that whenever you all decide to have kids, you got so much already built and in place to show and teach them. I know I kind of went off into kids, but
no, you're fine.
I was having a conversation with a younger guy on social media. He's 21. He's like, I gotta make 100,000 this year. I was like, bro, at 21, I was drinking in college. I was like, that's one of the problems, because you see so much, you feel like you got to compete with everybody. But I'm like, you're doing a lot better than I was doing at 21, and also doing a lot better than other 21-year-olds around you. So it's a gift and a curse, like you said, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think on social media, they're talking about, get to six figures, become a millionaire. And it's true. A lot of people are teenagers and in their early 20s, and they're feeling the pressure to, compete with other people who really are wealthy at that age, or who appear to be wealthy at that age. And yes, a lot of pressure, even for us adults. A lot of us adults, can get caught up in that too. But I think life is just much more fulfilling when you're not trying to, compete or do what other people do, and just, do what you want to do in your life. Yeah. All right. So next here is my financial affirmation card. So I'm just going to pull a random financial affirmation card, and I just want you all to tell me how it makes you feel and how it may relate to your own personal or professional journey.
Okay.
All right. So I have, my financial goals are a priority. How does that make you all feel, or how does it relate to your own journey?
I would say it definitely is a priority, because it's on that board back there where some of the financial goals are. We see it every day. I think they're definitely a priority, because I think being more financially stable allows us to help others in ways that we didn't even realize. We've been able to help our family, our friends with no problem, and it goes a long way. I mean, I think that's why it's really important.
Yeah, and prioritizing our financial goals during the journey is what helped us to continue, right? And that's what helped us to get other jobs, because we knew we had this goal of getting out of debt and doing something different. So yeah, I would say yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I always share a financial affirmation. I read and write them on my time myself, although we know there has to be some action behind the affirmations, but I do believe in speaking, the way we speak, the way we think and feel about our money and just our life in general really plays a role in the action that we take every single day. So thanks for sharing your feedback on that.
No
And the last one here is, I know a lot of times we are asked, what advice we would give to our younger selves, but I want to know, what advice would you give to yourselves right here in this moment?
I would say keep going.
Yeah, I say no breaks.
I mean, you can take breaks.
No, like don't. No, not that type of breaks. I mean breaks with a car. Like no stopping like that.
Oh, kind of like what I just said, keep going.
Yeah, yes.
I literally said the same thing.
Yeah, but I agree.
Get your own. How about you get your own? You literally took mine.
Oh God.
Just say I agree with you then.
No, well then I have my own then. Moving on, I got my own. I'm gonna go with then I think like just the word that we've been saying is elevate. That's how I say continue to grow.
Good one. Yeah. That was different. Different than mine.
Well, I love both of those tips, because I can use that, and there's so many other people out there that could hear it too and will benefit from it. So if you could both let us know, how can people connect with you all, support you all in your businesses?
Mostly Instagram, working on the site, but we've been saying that for 2 years, but we're working it, I'm sure. The Hatrimony is our Instagram, so it's the HARTRIMONY. And
our email is there.
Our email is there. Links of places we've been featured, all the courses that we have, how to do one-on-one consultation, all of that is on there. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I got my debt-free AF shirt because my last debt I have right now. Yes. My last debt is student loans. So I like to be able to see the reminder every day. So that's why I like to support getting products like these. I love t-shirts and hoodies anyway. So when I saw this shirt, I was like, yes, I have to have it, because even though I haven't paid off my student loans yet, I still have to operate and move like, you know what, it's already happened. It's coming, it's coming already. So thank you for continuing to, offer services and products to help elevate my life and other people out there. And everyone that's listening to this show, definitely check out both of them on Instagram, on their website. Take a look at all of the services they have to offer, because it's going to help you elevate in your financial lifestyle and just in your life in general. And this is the end of the show. But before I go, I want to encourage you to just take it one step at a time and do your best every single day. And don't wonder what if, take a risk. And I'll see you next week.
You can be financially free with Cleo.